What's up guys? Welcome back to another video. Today, it's the day you've all been waiting for. We're back on the mighty Ute. The last time you would have seen this, we put a 411 LSD diff in it, and the LSD turned out not to be super tight, which we honestly kind of expected. It's a factory LSD, they're not very good in these cars. But it has made the car much nicer to drive as it is. I do plan on doing a mini spool install on this in the future, but today we're going to sort out a few other issues. One, I'm pretty sure the fuel pump in this car is dead. And so, thanks to Raceworks, they've actually sent us out, because the Raceworks pumps are just too damn good for this car. I think the lowest pump they had was a 360 litre per hour. They've actually sent us out a TI Automotive 255. It's a rebanded Marlboro, if you were familiar with that back in the day. And all their fuel line for the car. So these Utes have pretty common issues with the breathers in the fuel tank, and this definitely has that problem. It stinks of fuel, and all the lines are deteriorated anyway. So good chance to go through and change all that, because to do a pump in this, you've got to pull the tank out. Not the world's biggest job, but it is actually under the panel in the back of the tray here. So we've got that to do today, and I am curious to take it for a drive having done the fuel pump by itself and see what that changes in the car. I feel like it should pick up a lot of torque because it's definitely down on power from what it should be right now. And of course, I've got this nice big red box here that has been sitting here for many months and I still haven't even opened it. We've got some Mace Engineering performance parts and goodies. In a previous video, you would have seen we pretty much went through everything under this car and went through and resealed things like the sump, new knock sensors, valve cover gaskets, and every single thing we could get to, rear main, all that has all been done. But as soon as we started it up, it still leaked oil, and that is because it's actually got an intake manifold gasket leak as well. And it's got a little miss because of that. So, if we're going to do intake manifold gaskets, why not put a little extra effort in? We'll do some basic performance goodies. What's in the box? Whether this is going to fit under the bonnet, I don't know yet, but I have opted for what the Mace Engineering recommended for maximum naturally aspirated performance, and they have got a 25mm intake plenum spacer, and it's also an insulator for heat. As well as the actual intake plenum spacer, this is a 12mm, and the, what do they call these? So the manifold insulator, 25mm. So whether we're going to have that 37mm room, we'll find out. I believe that will be our intake manifold gaskets. It comes with all the bolts, as you'll need longer bolts for all the spacers and everything, and all the gaskets and silicone that we'll need. I also ordered their chipped ECU, which I hope is maybe in that box, because I can't see it. And probably should have opened this box many months ago to make sure it was all in there, but anyway, fingers crossed it is. They're just a reprogrammed memcal, they call it, and essentially it's just you replace one board in the ECU, so it's not a whole ECU or anything like that. Nice and cheap. My old Ute had it. I never got to compare before and after, but everyone does reckon it picks up, particularly in throttle response, which is going to be a key thing. Not overall in maximum power. They definitely play around with the timing and fueling, and it is supposed to be even more fuel efficient as well, because that's, you know, what we're going about in this thing. Anyway, probably should open this box up and find out what we got. So that's got our intake manifold gaskets, but it was actually this little thing here that was stuck to one of the gaskets. So we have the issue, nobody worry. Plenty of things to do, so we'll get cracking. And when I say we've got Mason behind the camera now. Hi. He's come down to give us a hand. He's trying to learn as much as he can about cars, so I'll probably try to put him in work and yeah, have some fun learning. So let's get cracking with the fuel system first, and then we'll try and take it for a road test after that, before we do the intake manifold gaskets and bolt in all the goodies. So Mason's got the cover out, and I just got the cover off and made sure that this was loose so it can go with it. This is supposed to come off from that, but it is very brittle. Just in case we need to pull it all the way through, we can do that. I know why we've got some breather issues with this tank. As you can see, when I say the hose is deteriorated, it's not even there. So yeah, this would have been venting the whole damn time, and I'm guessing it's going somewhere under there. So we're gonna fix a lot of things today. We'll go under the car, we'll disconnect the lines that we can get to, then we'll come back on top, get these 4 main bolts out, and we should be able to wiggle the tank out the side. So it's been a while since I worked on a VS Ute, and I forgot that the lines aren't actually underneath. They'll have to be under that tank, so because it's all metal line under there. There's just the filter part that's got rubber hoses on it. I have got a filter coming for it as well. So we'll pull the tank out from here, and I'm guessing the lines are straight underneath. And we'll have to remember to pull that breather, or whatever the hell that is, off the vent tube. And yeah, hopefully that comes off without breaking. Alright, so the tank is pretty much out. These hoses here were so tough to try and crack loose. I tried to pull the filler neck off so we can just drag it straight under. Now I got worried that we were going to break them, so I ended up just putting the cap on and we were able to get it under there without leaking fuel. As you can see down there, that third one is completely broken off and going nowhere, which is supposed to go to here. I tried to run out of fuel on purpose this time, guys, I swear, so that this tank didn't have too much in it. Probably got like 10 litres or something in it. We'll get these lines off, drag this tank out, and yeah, the pump is actually on the side of the tank here. Hopefully we have no issues with that, and we'll get that all swapped out and everything back in. While it's out, I do want to try and clean out these. These are supposed to be like drains, so that, as you can see, they're blocked anyway, but they're probably full of crap. That way whatever gets into the tray has a way out. And might even pressure wash in here if we can be bothered. We'll see how we go. Cool. How do we get the fucking thing to start coming out? Good lord. Back up. I made a mess already. Why is this so hard, you fucking nut? What an absolute entanglement of crap. No wonder that was an absolute mission. Up, and I lost the sock. Ah. Fuck's sake. I'm ready to admit when I failed, because in my haste of getting the pump out, I should have taken more time and got the sock to come with it. Did not expect it to pop off so easily. That turned into a nightmare of having to drain all the fuel out of it and stuff around trying to get this stupid thing out. But it's out now, so we can continue on our way. As you can see, no wonder it's an absolute nightmare in this thing, because essentially, the tank's upside down now, but it sits in there like that. So there's a whole bunch of contorting to do. Hopefully that's our only delay in the thing. So as I said before, the Raceworks pumps, the minimum they got is a 360 litre per hour pump. And I don't think my factory reg was gonna like it. Apparently even these are pushing the limits. But I had good luck with it in my last car, so that's what we're going with again. It's a GSS 342. Virtually identical sizes, so we shouldn't have any issues at all. And obviously we've got to change the wiring because it's a different plug. Now, unless factory pumps cable ties on it, I would say someone's probably changed this in the past just for another factory one. Anyway, we'll cut this off, get it unplugged. I'd rather go overkill and test the shit out of them. If they're gonna pop now. If you do have any of these that they actually go, like the wires go right up to the actual bulkheads, like S13s for example, you can actually desolder and solder them straight to the head. And that is definitely the more ideal way to do it. But this is just plugged at the top as well, so we're gonna have some way of swapping the wires across. So she's all together, got the sock on there, another cable tie, she's ready to go. Now we get to see if we can put it back in a lot easier than it came out. So after that miserable fuel pump install, definitely the most annoying fuel pump install I think I've ever done in my life. But the thing's back in there in the tank now. It was also annoying because the filter was at just a slightly different angle and it didn't want to seat inside the like the surge box that's inside the tank. But we got it all in there, so fingers crossed that's all good. But of course we need to clean out this bad boy. We can't just put it back in the way it was with those crusty hoses and how dirty it is in here. So we've already scraped off a bit of the edges there to just loosen everything up. This one looks like it was clear. Camera probably won't show you, but that is like heavy because it is solid. This whole half of the hose is caked up. Not sure if we're gonna actually be able to clear that up. We might actually have to go to replace it. We'll go try and put some water in the other side and try and get it all loosened up. Stab it with a screwdriver and see. This side is like 1/3 the weight with nothing in it. And you can even see, I don't know if like a wheel nut or something's gone in there, but there's some chrome bolt looking thing and it does look like a wheel nut that's jammed up in there. We can't even get that out. So we'll see what we can loosen up with the pressure washer now, get it all clean. We put bolts into the old hoses so we can't get any water inside the fuel lines. And then we'll replace those with the new ones and the tank can go back in when she's all clean. What'd you find, mate?
I think it's a wheel nut with some.
What the hell? Yeah, okay. That's funky. And a screw. And all that was all jammed up in there.
I think it's a sinking, like a fisher, a sinker for fishing.
Oh, really?
Because there's fishing line attached to it.
True, and the hole right there. Things you find. I actually can't believe how good the back of this thing's coming out. I thought we were going to stuck with a lot of black and dirt, but everything came off really, really well. It's nice and bright red under there. So we'll clear out some tape and a few other little things that come loose. That tank was getting the better of me earlier, but I'm much happier now that I feel like we're making proper progress and cleaning this bad boy up some more. So we'll go dig everything out, like I said, give it a little once over, blow it all out with air. We'll try and get that hose that's blocked up clear as well. Fingers crossed we can. If not, we're gonna hope that Bunnings has the right size hose. Got to go down there anyway to grab some new screws. A whole bunch of the screws here were missing. If you haven't worked on an older Commodore before, you'd probably be surprised to realize that just about everything in this car is freaking tech screwed in. They didn't use bolts and nuts for most of the car. There is a lot of stuff that is just sheet metal tech screwed straight in. They're all broken or stripped out and stuff now, so anyway, we'll get some new screws for it and hopefully they'll all tighten up. We'll get our new hoses on there. And yeah, making some progress. This thing's gonna be way too clean. One day we'll get around to the outside of this thing. I have heaps of parts lying in my garage for this thing. Unlike some YouTubers who might just focus on making the car look good to start with, I've always been someone that tries to do the mechanical side of things first. I feel like a car doesn't deserve to look 100% until it is mechanically 100%. That's why I am. Plenty of people are different, nothing wrong with that. But I'm very keen to get this thing sorted so we can start moving on to other more fun things. Huge rock that has managed to make its way down there. What in the fucking tarnation? It's a giant turd. Oh my god. Oh my lord.
Chain.
What the it is too. Oh my god. What the fuck? Lock. There's no hope of fucking cleaning that out in the car, that's for sure. Victory is ours. Mason eventually got that out. That is stupid long. It had all gone back on itself. So washing that out now. I love finding things like that because it just makes you feel like you're improving the car even more. Even though it should have been that good from the factory. This Ute's turning in more into a restoration than anything else. So we've pre-cut our feed and return line. They're the same length as what came out of it. Gave our tank a little pressure wash as well. Just kept off the holes and she came up reasonable. I'm probably going way too far, but I made a rattle can, the top of it black. The bottom's actually quite nice. It's just that top piece there. Clean this up. So we're going to slap that in, and for our breather line, we're going to put the hose on it and leave the whole length because the breather line is not the same length as this. It's got to go, rather than to here, it's got to go all the way up. So we'll leave a whole length of line when we put this in, and then we'll cut it in the car. So finally up to reassembly time. We'll get the hoses on first, set the tank in there, and yeah, hopefully we'll give it a test and everything works. I couldn't help myself, as with everything in this car, something had to get some paint. I just went over and basically painted the top half of it black. Like I said, bottom half's actually in pretty decent nick, but we've gone so far and everything else, and the rear end actually cleaned out so good in here. You saw that before, it was absolutely disgusting. So it's actually bright red, nice and clean, got new hoses in, ready to go. We'll try not to get our hands stuck in the paint, but we'll get that tank in now. Got everything tightened back up on here and that line back on. Keen as hell to get this thing running again. Alright, you want to plug it in. Electrical cable. Let's not forget that one.
We'll do it definitely.
Alright, yeah.
There we go. Yes.
That's there with the top, yep. Yep, that's it. Are we in?
I think so.
Victory! She's all back together. Mason's been put in the hard yards. And look at that. 10,000 times better than what we looked at before. With our breather line now hooked up, which wasn't there before. Everything's all mounted all properly. Make sure we got our rubber insulators back on the tank all around. Now the moment of truth is, will it start? We haven't put a lot of fuel in it. We put very, very little back in it. That was all that we could actually safely get out of the tank. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully we hear it. Woo! Definitely heard it. Alright. Cool. Obviously you can't really see much, but if there was leaks, I'm sure it would be pouring out fuel down the bottom there. Whoop whoop. I'm just gonna go get some new screws from Bunnings and we'll get some lunch while we're at it. That did take 10 times longer than I had planned, but you get that on most jobs, especially cars like this that are old and sat, and you find all kinds of little gremlins. But bit by bit, she's turning into quite a nice car. You wouldn't know we put in all that work now. So she's driving all smooth. We just went and put some fuel in it, unlike last time. Not gonna make the mistake of trying to test it out before we put fuel in it. Give it its first little rip. Same sort of acceleration, but again, when I did the fuel pump in the last car, the acceleration was pretty similar, but the torque was very different, and it did feel like it hits a bit harder there. Honestly, the best way to test out torque is a burnout, that's what I'm kind of thinking. But we might see if we get around to that later. Anyway, we're here at Bunnings now to go get some bolts. Woohoo! It definitely has way more torque, like even as you're just going fourth gear, just way better than it was. It'd be much more noticeable with the trailer at the back too. And how good is it having a car that doesn't stink of fuel?
I can since confirm that just the fuel pump made a massive difference. We definitely picked up a lot of torque. Towing with this thing now was night and day.
Good shit. Boom. There's one last piece of the puzzle with this fuel system. I probably should have done it before I took it for a drive. And that is the fuel filter. And there's a little bit of line under there to change as well. Huge shout out to Burston's Pantry Gully, sending that right out. Luckily they were open today, got it to us within half an hour. So how good's that? So that's just, yeah, that's all we got to change here. 2 little bits of fuel line and yeah, fuel filter. Beautiful. Nice and easy.
I think you can agree we definitely should have done this before we filled the tank full of fuel and copped a nice 98 octane armpit shower.
So the filter and lines are done. Thank you again to Burston's for the filter, and thank you again to Raceworks for the pump and lines. So this thing is running tip top, and that means she's ready for some performance parts. Unfortunately, I've pretty much run out of time today, and so has Mason. We've got other things to do. So I'm gonna come back to this tomorrow, and we'll get stuck into that. Unfortunately, Mason won't be here tomorrow, but thank you for your help today, mate. Hope you learned some things and had some fun, and that's what I'm working on cars is all about. One of the things I love about this car is, because of the sort of car it is, I'm really enjoying not Googling how to do stuff and just winging it. It's not exactly something you want to do on your S13, your Chaser, or Aristo, all that sort of thing. So, but you know, nothing wrong with that on a VS Ute. Pretty stoked on how this thing's turning out, and keen to see how she rips once there's a few other things under the hood. But don't worry, that'll still be in this video, so we'll see you in a sec.
Why the f you lying? Why you always lying?
Alrighty guys, I'm sorry to tease you there. Unfortunately we didn't make it back to the workshop the next day, so you'll have to wait for that one. We will get to it very soon. Plus this video probably would have been an hour long. In the meantime, enjoy this teaser for what you can look forward to in the next video, where we're at Keep It Reet Drift Fest, throwing down with some of the biggest names in the sport and having the time of our lives. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We're almost at 2K, and I've got some exciting news to share with you when we do. Otherwise, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.